Hey everyone, Abhi here. Welcome to Module 1, Class 1 of DigitalReach Academy. I want you to settle in for a moment because this isn't just another YouTube video you're watching. This is your first real class. This is the beginning of your digital marketing journey the right way. And honestly, I'm really glad you are here. I know you could be scrolling right now, watching something else, doing anything else, but you chose to be here to learn something that can genuinely change your life. That already tells me a lot about you. So let's set the stage properly. What you will learn in today's class. By the end of today's class, you will clearly understand what marketing truly means, why marketing is not posting, not ads, and not tools. Why marketing starts with people, not platforms. The mindset every successful marketer has, and how this foundation will help you in jobs, freelancing, or business. Everything else you'll learn like social media, SEO, websites, ads, analytics, depends on this class. So this is not a theory class. This is the base layer of everything that's coming next. And if you're someone who has been confused, felt lost, or didn't know where to start in digital marketing, you are finally going to get clarity. Before we start, I want you to know something important. Digital marketing can feel overwhelming when you are new. So many tools, so many platforms, so many tutorials, so many opinions. And everyone online is teaching one tiny piece. But no one is showing you the bigger picture. That's why most beginners learn for months and still feel stuck. But you won't feel stuck because we are doing this properly. My promise to you is this. I'll teach you digital marketing in depth, step by step, and in the right sequence so everything makes sense. You won't just learn how to post or how to run ads. You will learn how a marketer thinks, and that's the skill companies pay for. Now grab your notebooks. Seriously, I want you to treat this like a real class, not an entertainment. So pause this video for 5 seconds and grab a notebook, a pen, and maybe even some water because I'm going to ask you to write things down, reflect on things, and think in a deeper way than you are used to. This is not passive learning, it's active learning, okay? Great. So what is Module 1 really about? Let me give you a quick overview of this entire module. Module 1 is called Foundations of Marketing and Digital Marketing. This module will make you understand, first, how marketing works, second, how business think, third, how customers make decisions, fourth, why some brands succeed and others fail, 5, how the digital ecosystem works, and how to think like a marketer, not just a creator. Most people jump into digital marketing tools too fast. They learn Facebook ads or Canva or SEO first, but without this foundation, they struggle later. By the end of this module, you'll understand the why behind every tool. And when you understand the why, the how becomes easy. Look, I want this to feel like you and I are sitting in a room and I'm explaining things to you directly. So sometimes I'll ask you to pause and think, or write something down, or answer a question in your mind, or reflect on a situation. This is intentional because it activates your brain and makes the learning stick. You're not just watching, you're learning, analyzing, and developing marketing instincts. I want you to write a sentence on the top of your notebook that will guide your entire journey. Right. I'm learning to think like a marketer, not just use tools. This mindset will make you better than 90% of beginners. Because companies don't hire people who can press buttons. They hire people who understand people. And that starts today. Alright, let's begin the real learning. So now you know what this class is about. You know why it's important. You know how this module is structured. And you are mentally prepared. Let's dive into the most misunderstood question in the entire industry. What is marketing really? And trust me, the way you will understand marketing in the next section, you won't forget it for the rest of your career. And before I tell you, I want you to do a small mental exercise with me. Just think about the answer for 3 seconds. If someone asks you right now, hey, what exactly is marketing? What would you say? Most people struggle to explain it. They'll say, marketing is posting on social media, or marketing is advertising. Someone says, it's running Facebook ads, it's designing logos, it's making videos, it's selling. Those things are part of marketing, but they're not the definition of marketing. So let's clean the slate. Let's forget the tools, the platforms, the fancy words, and go to the core, the human truth behind marketing. Because if you understand this deeply, everything else becomes 10 times easier. Write this sentence down in your notebooks. Marketing is understanding people, solving their problems, and communicating the solution effectively. Let me break that down slowly and simply, because this is the foundation of the entire academy. Every word in that sentence matters. Number one, understanding people. Marketing always starts with people. Not with tools, not with money, not with ads, not with content, and not with platforms. It starts with humans, their needs, their frustrations, their emotions, their goals. So I want you to write this under the previous line. People don't buy products. People buy outcomes and feelings. Let me give you a simple everyday example. Imagine you're feeling extremely tired after work. You are hungry, you are drained, and you don't want to cook. You open your phone and suddenly you see a post from a local restaurant saying, "Too tired to cook? Order your dinner in 20 minutes." Now, notice what happened here. You didn't buy food, you bought relief. You bought convenience. You bought time and energy. That restaurant solved a problem you were experiencing. And the communication was so clear that your brain instantly connected with the message. That's marketing. Let me give you another example. Think about a gym membership. People don't buy access to machines. They buy confidence, health, energy, and sometimes even the feeling of self-improvement. Same with phones. Nobody buys a phone because of its technical specs alone. They buy the feeling of staying connected, the status, the convenience, the camera that makes them feel good when they take a photo. So when you think of marketing, I want you to think human, think emotional, think psychological, because people never buy products. They buy solutions, feelings, hopes, results. Let me give you a quick reflection exercise. Look around wherever you're sitting right now. Pick any one object, your phone, your bottle, your shoes, your headphones, anything, and ask yourself, what problem does this solve for me? And how does it make life easier or better? If you can answer that, congratulations. You just did real marketing thinking. Now let's get a little deeper. Marketing always starts with understanding people. That means learning what they care about, what annoys them, what scares them, what excites them, and what they dream about. We call this consumer insight. Don't let the jargon sound fancy. Consumers simply means customer, and insight means a truth or observation about them. It's basically understanding something real about people's behavior. For example, here's a simple insight. Most people want to eat healthy, but they also want convenience. This one insight helped build entire businesses like meal prep companies. Another insight is people trust reviews more than advertisements. That insight shapes how we run campaigns today. When you understand people deeply, your marketing becomes sharp, clear, and powerful. Now, after understanding people, the second part of marketing is solving a problem. Every single business exists because it solves a problem, whether big or small. A plumber solves leaking pipes. A clothing brand solves the need of style and expressions. A YouTube channel like this one solves the problem of confusion and lack of direction in digital marketing. So marketing always begins with identifying the problem clearly. And finally, the third part of marketing is communicating the solution effectively. This is where the digital world comes in. The platforms, the content, the ads, the tools. But these tools cannot make bad marketing good. They can only amplify what's already there. Let me give you an example. If someone doesn't need new shoes, no amount of Instagram ads will convince them, unless those ads speak to a need they genuinely have. Comfort, fashion, performance, affordability, whatever it is. So marketing is not about forcing people. It's about connecting the right message to the right person at the right time. Let me say that again. The right message to the right person at the right time. This is what digital marketing helps us do. I want you to write something important in your notebook. Just a small sentence. I'm learning to understand people, not just platforms. Because platforms will keep changing. Algorithms will keep changing. But human nature, that doesn't change much. People still want convenience. People still want feel. People still want to feel confident. People still want beautiful experiences. People still want to save time, save money, or feel better. If you understand this, you can master digital marketing much faster than someone who just learns tools without context. And before we move on, here's one more quick interaction. Think about last thing you bought online. Anything. Why did you buy it? What were you feeling before you bought it? And what problem did it solve for you? When you start thinking like this every day, you'll begin training your marketing brain automatically. Now, there's a small word you might see out there a lot: consumer insight. Let me explain that in very simple language. Consumer just means customer or audience. Insight means a real truth or observation about how they think or behave. So, a consumer insight is just a useful truth about your customers. For example, most people want to eat healthy, but they don't want to spend a lot of time cooking. That's a consumer insight. A business can use that insight to create ready-made healthy meals. Another insight: people trust reviews more than ads. That insight is why reviews and testimonials are so powerful. You don't need to memorize the word insight. Just remember, your job is to understand people so well that you can see what they really need. Now let's connect this to your future as a digital marketer. When you apply for a job or work with a client, they're not secretly thinking, I hope this person knows how to click the button to create a Facebook campaign. What they really want is someone who understands their customers. They want someone who can say, your customers are busy parents, so we should focus on convenience. Or your customers care a lot about quality, so we should show behind the scenes and reviews. Or something like, your customers are price sensitive, so we should communicate offers very clearly. That kind of thinking makes you stand out immediately. And that thinking starts right here. Quickly look at your notes now. You should have written down, marketing is understanding people, solving their problems, and communicating the solution. People don't buy products. People buy outcomes and feelings. Tools don't create marketing. Tools deliver marketing. If something is missing from your notes, pause and add it. These are not just sentences. These are your foundations. You'll come back to these again and again in every module, every campaign, every job. Now that you understand what marketing really is at a deep human level, in the next section, we're going to clear up one of the biggest areas of confusion. What's the difference between marketing, branding, advertising, and sales? People mix these up all the time, even in companies. But once you understand the difference, your thinking becomes very, very sharp. People often mix up marketing, branding, advertising, and sales. Some even use these words as if they mean the same thing, but they are not the same. Each one has a different job, a different purpose, a different meaning. So let's break this down in the most simple, human way possible. You'll definitely want to take notes in this section. Let's go. Marketing is understanding people and creating value. You already know this from section 2, but let's restate it so it's fresh in your mind. Marketing is the strategy. Marketing is the thinking. Marketing guides everything else. Think of marketing as the brain. It tells the other parts of the body what to do. Pause for a second and write this down. Marketing is equal to understanding people plus shaping the solution plus guiding communication. Alright? Now let's move on. Branding is what people feel about you. Branding is very different from marketing. Branding is about identity and emotion. Branding is not your logo, not your website, not your color palette. Those are just visual elements. Branding is actually the feeling people have about your business. Think of branding like this. If marketing is the brain, branding is the heart. Branding answers questions like, who are we as a business? What do we stand for? What do people think of us? What emotions do we create? Let me give you a simple example. When you think of the brand Apple, you don't just think of phones. You think of words like premium, clean, minimalist, creative, high quality. This is branding. When you think of Nike, you think ambition, achievement, motivation, athletic energy. This is branding. Branding is the personality of a business. If a brand was a person, branding tells you whether they are funny, serious, caring, bold, premium, affordable, that kind of vibe. Write this in your notebook. Branding is not marketing. Branding is equal to perception plus reputation plus emotional feeling. Good branding builds trust before the customer even buys anything. Now let's talk about advertising. And this is the most commonly misunderstood one. Advertising simply means paying money to show your message to people. That's it. Advertising is not the same as marketing. Marketing is the thinking. Advertising is one of the tools. If you boost a post on Facebook, that's advertising. If you run a Google Ads, that's advertising. If you pay for a billboard to run your ad, That's advertising. Advertising helps you reach people faster. It's like putting a microphone on your message you want to convey. But here's the important part. Advertising cannot fix bad marketing. It can only amplify what already exists. If your message is confusing, if your product doesn't solve a clear problem, no amount of ads will save it. I want you to write this down. Advertising is equal to paid visibility, not strategy. Let's move to the final one. Sales. Sales is completely different. Sales happen when the customer is already interested. Marketing brings people to the door. Sales help them walk through the door. Sales is answering doubts. Sales is guiding the final choice. Think of sales like this. Marketing says, here's the value we offer. Sales says, let me help you move forward. Let's take an example. You see an ad for a gym. That's advertising. You like their brand and the vibe. That's branding. You understand the problem they solve and why they are right for you. That's marketing. You walk into the gym and ask questions. That's the start of sales. When the staff helps you pick a plan, explains the features, and convinces you to sign up, that's sales. So write this line down. Marketing creates interest. Sales converts interest. That's the simplest way to remember it. Let me give you a simple analogy you'll never forget. Imagine you are going on a date. Marketing is getting to know the person first. Their likes, dislikes, interests, what they care about. Branding is your personality, how you dress, how you speak, your energy, your vibe. Advertising is you saying, hey, let's meet at 7 p.m. Sales is the actual date, the conversation, the reassurance, the moment they decide, yes, I want to see this person again. Everything works together, but each has its own role. If you mix them up, your marketing gets messy. If you understand them, your strategies become sharp and effective. I want you to look at your notebook now and make sure you've written these 4 sentences clearly. Write them exactly like this. Marketing is equal to understanding people plus shaping the solution plus guiding communication. Branding is equal to the emotional perception people have about you. Advertising is equal to paying to spread your message. Sales is equal to helping people make the final decision. If you're missing anything, pause here and update your notes. These 4 lines are your compass. They'll guide every campaign, every strategy, every job interview, and every client project you ever do. And let me tell you something honestly. When you're applying for digital marketing roles or running campaigns for clients or building your own business, companies love people who understand this distinction because it shows you understand how a business really works. You're not just someone who posts content, you're someone who understands the bigger picture. This makes you more valuable, this makes you more respected, and this makes you more confident. Alright. Now that the confusion is gone, in the next section, we are going to go even deeper into the foundations of marketing. We'll talk about why understanding people, human psychology, needs, emotions is the heart of great marketing. This is where things get really interesting and really powerful. So let's move to section 4. Now we are going into one of the most powerful parts of this entire class. And honestly, this is where marketing becomes fun. Because once you understand human behavior, why people act a certain way, why they choose one product over another, why they click, why they buy, marketing becomes so logical that you'll start seeing it everywhere. And I really want you to understand this, not just memorize it. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why two people can see the exact same ad, same video, same message, and one person feels excited while the other person doesn't care at all? Why does that happen? It's because marketing is actually psychology. It's behavior. It is emotion. It is needs, wants, desires, sometimes tears, fears, and dreams. And once you understand this, marketing stops being random. It becomes predictable. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine someone walking down the supermarket aisle. They see 2 types of cereals. One is plain and cheap, the other is colorful and has the words high protein, whole grain, no added sugar. Now before they even read the price, they already feel like the healthier one is a better choice. Why? Because humans make decisions emotionally first and logically later. Emotion first, logic later. This is one of the most important things in marketing. When we see something that makes us feel a certain way, like safe, excited, inspired, proud, confident, we move forward with it. And then our brain finds logic to justify the decision. You have probably done this too. Maybe you bought a phone, not because you needed a new phone, but because you loved the camera or the design. Maybe you bought shoes because they felt good, even though logically you already had shoes. See what I mean? We are emotional creatures first, and as a marketer, you need to understand humans before you understand tools. Now take a minute here. If you have a notebook, write this down. People don't buy products, people buy feelings. Because when you understand that sentence deeply, your marketing becomes 10 times stronger. Let's go deeper. You know how sometimes you scroll on Instagram and an ad shows up for something you don't even search for, but it feels like the ad understands you. Maybe it shows a problem you're facing or a dream you secretly had. That is marketing connecting with behavior. Let me give you another relatable example. Imagine someone is tired after a long day at work. They get home, lie on the couch, open YouTube, and suddenly they see an ad for a travel destination. A peaceful beach, blue water, calm music. Even if they weren't planning a trip, that ad hits them emotionally. Why? Because it solved a feeling. Stress. Understanding feelings is a marketer's superpower. And let me explain another foundational concept here. The idea of pain points. A pain point is simply the customer's problem. The thing that frustrates them, slows them down, or makes life harder. When a business solves that pain point, the customer chooses them. For example, if someone is tired in the morning, a cafe offering quick coffee in 3 minutes or less solves a pain point. If someone is overwhelmed with choices, a brand offering simple, clean design solves confusion. If someone wants to feel healthier, a brand offering organic ingredients solves a desire. You see how this is all human behavior? And I want you to really think about this. You, right now, what was the last thing you bought? A cup of coffee? A t-shirt? A gadget? Why did you buy it? What did it solve? How did it make you feel? Pause for a moment and reflect. Write down the last product you bought and the real reason you bought it. Not the logical reason, but the emotional one. This exercise trains your marketing brain. By the way, this is why great marketers are not the ones who know all the tools. Great digital marketers are the ones who understand humans. People click because of emotions. People buy because of emotions. People follow brands because of emotions. Even in B2B businesses, which means business selling to other businesses, decisions still have emotional influence. People trust what feels relatable, reliable, and credible. Let me share one more simple example before we wrap this section. Think about the iPhone. If Apple only sold features, they would talk about storage, battery, screen size, processors. But what do they actually sell? They sell identity. They sell status. They sell lifestyle. They sell emotion. When they show ads, they show beautiful photos, families, nature, creativity, not the hardware. This is behavioral marketing at the highest level. Now, before we move to the next section, I want you to write down 2 questions in your notebook. Number 1, what emotions do I personally respond to when I make buying decisions? Number 2, what problem or feeling do I think most people in my age group deal with daily? These questions are the beginning of becoming a real digital marketer, not someone who just posts content, but someone who understands people. Alright, feeling good so far? Because in section 5, we are going even deeper. Now that you understand human behavior, we are going to explore something called the customer journey. How someone goes from not knowing a brand at all, to discovering it, to considering it, to buying from it, to becoming a loyal fan. This is where everything clicks into place. So take a sip of water, stretch a bit, and I'll see you in section 5. Welcome to section 5. This is the part where everything you have learned so far starts connecting into one beautiful, clear picture. Because now we are going to talk about something called the customer journey. And don't let the word scare you. It's just a fancy way of describing how a person moves from not knowing your product exists to discovering it, to showing interest, to buying, to coming back again, and even recommending it to others. It's basically the full life story for a customer, from a stranger to a loyal supporter. And trust me, once you understand this, marketing becomes so much easier and so much intentional. I really want you to understand this deeply because this concept alone will guide you for every ad you create, every piece of content you post, every website you design, every campaign you run. This is foundational. So let's start with something simple and relatable. Think about the last time you found a new cafe, a new brand, or a new YouTube channel. You didn't wake up one morning saying, I'm going to buy from this brand today. No, there was a journey. Maybe you saw a post. Maybe a friend mentioned it. Maybe you walked past it. Maybe YouTube recommended a video. From that moment, the journey began. Now, let me walk you through this journey step by step. But I'll do it in a story form so you can picture it clearly. Imagine you're scrolling Instagram after work. You're tired, relaxing on your couch. Suddenly you see a short video or a cafe showing this streaming cup of hot chocolate with marshmallows melting on top. The video looks warm, cozy, inviting. And for a second, you pause your scrolling. Now think about this moment. Right here. This pause. This tiny second of attention. This is where the customer journey starts. Before that moment, you didn't know the cafe existed. You had zero awareness, but now something inside you went like, that looks good. Congratulations, you moved into the interest phase without even realizing it. A few hours later, maybe you are craving something sweet. Maybe your mind remembers that video. Maybe you open their profile just to see what else they offer. Now you have moved into the consideration phase. You are thinking, should I try this place? Is it nearby? What do other people say? This is where branding, content, reviews, photos, everything matters. This is where marketing either builds trust or loses it. Then, maybe the next day you are out with a friend and you suddenly remember that cafe. You walk past it, see people inside, and you go, you know what? Let's try this. That moment is the decision phase. The moment where desire becomes action. Then you buy a hot chocolate and you love it and you enjoy the experience. If leave feeling good, you have moved into retention phase, which means the business has a chance to keep you as a repeat customer. And if you go home and tell a friend about it, or you post a story, or you leave a good review, you have entered the advocacy phase, which means you're now helping the brand grow without them even asking. Do you notice something beautiful here? The customer journey is all about feelings. Discovery, curiosity, desire, trust, experience, memory, satisfaction. And as a marketer, you will be responsible for shaping that journey. This is why, again, marketing is not just posting random content. It's guiding people intentionally from one phase to the next. Now, I want you to pause here and do a quick exercise with me. This is important. Take your notebook and write the name of a product, cafe, influencer, brand, or channel that you discovered recently. Something new. And then write down how you found them. Was it a recommendation, a video, a Google search, a friend told you, you walked past it? Write it down. Because once you start mapping this out, you'll realize that the customer journey happens automatically every day in your life without even you noticing. And if you can understand your journey as a customer, you can understand anyone's. Now let's take this a little deeper. In marketing, you might hear people say things like top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. Don't let the terms confuse you. This is just another way of describing the same journey. Top of the funnel simply means the awareness stage, when people first discover you. Middle is the interest and consideration stage, when people are learning and thinking. Bottom is the decision stage, when they buy. Funnels are just visual diagrams, but the real thing is always human behavior. And I want you to remember something important here. A customer might need to see your brand 3, 5, sometimes even 10 times before they actually buy. Why? Because people rarely make decisions instantly. So your job as a marketer is to gently guide them forward. Not push, not force, just guide. Show value, build trust, communicate clearly, give them reasons to feel confident choosing you. That's the real art of marketing. Now, let me connect this to your future job or business. When you work in a digital marketing job, you would be asked questions like, how do we increase awareness? How do we improve consideration? What can we do to convert more customers? If you understand the customer journey clearly, you can answer these questions with confidence. And that immediately makes you look like a skilled marketer. If you run a business, this is even more powerful. You'll never again say things like, why aren't people buying? Instead, you'll analyze, are people aware of my product? Are they considering it? Do they trust it? Is my content helping them move forward? That's how real marketers think. Now, before we end this section, I want you to write down one simple sentence in your notes. Customers don't jump. They move step by step. Your job is to help them move. Alright? That was section 5. In section 6, we are going to zoom out even more and understand something huge. The difference between marketing needs, wants, and demands, and how businesses decide what to offer. This will help you think like a strategist, not just a content creator. Take a breath, stretch a bit, and when you are ready, I'll see you in section 6. Alright, welcome to section 6. This is another very important part of your foundation. And I want you to pay a close attention here because this is one of those concepts that separates an average marketer from an exceptional one. Today, we're going to talk about needs, wants, and demands. Three simple words that actually control billions of dollars in buying decisions around the world. And once you understand these deeply, not just the definitions, but really how they influence behavior, your entire perspective on marketing will level up. Let's start simple. Let me ask you a quick question. Imagine it's a cold morning. You wake up, step out of bed, and your body naturally wants warmth. You can think of warmth as a need. Our bodies need it. It's basic. It's natural. Now, how you choose to satisfy that need? That's when things get interesting. You could drink hot water. You could make coffee. You could switch on the heater. You could even go outside and stand in the sun. But maybe your mind says, I want a nice, creamy, hot chocolate. That thought, that desire, that is a want. Do you see the difference? A need is basic. A want is specific. But then, imagine you walk past your favorite cafe and see their limited edition hot chocolate with caramel swirls. And suddenly you feel, I have to get that today. That intensity, that willingness to spend money, that's demand. That intensity, that willingness to spend money, that's demand. Demand happens when a want becomes strong enough that a person is ready to take action, usually by spending money. Needs lead to wants, lead to demands. It's a natural progression, not something we force. And as a marketer, your job is to understand these three layers like a psychologist. Let me give you another example, a very modern one. Think about smartphones. Humans don't really need smartphones. The true need is communication, staying in touch. That's the basic need. But then we want specific things. I want a good camera. I want fast performance. I want a nice design. And then demand kicks in when we decide, I'm buying the iPhone 15, not just a phone, the iPhone 15. That willingness to choose a specific brand, a specific feature set, and spend real money. That's demand. You see how beautifully this works? It's simply psychology, yet incredibly powerful. Now I want you to pause and really listen to this next part, because it will help you so much in the job or business world. Businesses make money by solving needs, shaping wants, and influencing demand. If you don't understand these three layers, you will create random content and random ads that don't connect. But if you understand them deeply, you can create messages, offers, products, and content that instantly resonate because you are speaking to what people actually care about. Let me tie it directly to your future roles. If you work in a digital marketing job, your manager will expect you to understand why customers behave the way they are. Not just post on Instagram, but why would someone want this product? Imagine you sell running shoes. The need? People need comfortable footwear for exercise. The want? People want something stylish, cushioned, maybe lightweight. The demand? People choose a specific pair. Maybe Nike because they trust Nike's brand, or they saw a great review, or the ad spoke to them emotionally. In digital marketing, we use content, ads, SEO, email marketing, and branding to move people from need to want to demand. When you launch campaigns later in this course, you'll see this everywhere. Let's add a real teaching moment here. I want you to take out your notebook again. Don't skip this. You'll thank yourself later. Write down 3 examples from your own life. Number 1, something you needed recently. Second, what you wanted specifically. Third, the exact product you actually demanded, the one you paid for. It can be anything: food, tech, clothes, household items, anything. Understanding your own buying behavior makes you a more intuitive marketer. Before we move on, I want to simplify 2 words that marketers use often, and I don't want you to get confused later. Number 1 is consumer behavior. This simply means understanding why people make the decisions they make. It's psychology applied to buying. The second one is value proposition. This sounds fancy, but it simply means why should someone choose your product instead of someone else? Needs, wants, and demands help shape these 2 fundamental ideas. If you understand needs and wants, you can create better value propositions. If you understand demand, you can predict consumer behavior. This is why marketers who understand psychology earn more, because companies are paying for insight, not just actions. Alright, that brings us to the end of section 6. I hope this made you look at buying behavior in a whole new way. Needs, wants, and demands might sound like simple concepts, but inside them lies the entire psychology of marketing. And now that you understand this clearly, in the next section, section 7, we're going to explore something called target audience, which answers the questions like, who are we actually talking to in marketing? Because understanding people is one thing, but knowing which people to talk to is a different skill altogether. So take a breath, stretch if you want, grab some water, and I'll see you in section 7.